Okay, so the 2024 NRL Grand Final has concluded. The Panthers have now made history with 4 in a row in the salary cap era, which just is ridiculous considering that only 8 players remain from the 2020 Grand Final side that lost to the Melbourne Storm. Um, their system works so well. 5 Grand Finals in a row, winning 4 of them. They've won 14 points to 6. They were behind at one point. The Storm took the lead through a Harry Grant try with a Nick Meaney conversion on the Melbourne Storm's only real attack down the Penrith end, because Penrith sucked the life out of the Melbourne Storm. Their intensity, their defence, their energy levels, they controlled the game fantastically well. It was an arm wrestle and Penrith won the arm wrestle. The intensity levels didn't drop off at all for the entire 80 minutes. Probably even more intense than State of Origin or international level rugby league. To be honest, I've never the only other finals match I can think of which comes close to this was I think back in 2021 where Penrith played Parramatta and I think it was 6-4 final score. I seem to remember. And that was played in a similar arm wrestle type of way where it was brutal intensity and just a pure arm wrestle. And everyone was saying when I did my preview video that the Melbourne Storm looked fitter, they looked faster, and that Penrith would have to play a lot better than what they did against the Sharks and in various points this season where they have looked a little bit stop-start and a bit human. Injuries have hampered the Panthers, especially with Nathan Cleary missing a lot of games injured. The Melbourne Storm, after taking the lead, that was their moment. They didn't kick on and get a second, and then Taruva gets his try, and the Panthers just wanted to keep the ball alive. There was a bit of unstructured play, but they played with a lot more intensity and direction, and they wanted to keep the ball moving as much as possible, more offloads, keep stretching the Melbourne defence. The Taruva try admittedly wasn't converted, so they're still behind, but that was a momentum shift. And then Liam Martin's try right on the stroke of half time, I think, was the moment where you just knew that Penrith weren't going to lose this game, quite honestly. And that one was converted. And again, the build-up play, again, a lot of good handling skills, got a good pass selection, quick play the balls, good support play. So half-time, it's 10-6, but I think by that point, I think a lot of people would have, even neutrals would have thought, yeah, Penrith are going to win this. Melbourne looked gone, absolutely physically just destroyed, physically. Now, the second half, there's only one try. It's Alamonte's try. Now, he's had to be forced out onto the right wing because Brian Toto's gone off with a knee injury, which meant a reshuffle of the left-hand side of the Penrith Panthers lineup, which the Melbourne Storm didn't take advantage of. Even when Melbourne had 5 consecutive sets down Penrith's end, they rarely went to their right-hand side enough, the Penrith left edge, which was disorganised because of Brian Toto's injury and Alamonte moving over to right wing. His try is brilliant. Liam Martin, I think, for me, has been the player of the match, the man of the match. I think his energy levels leading that defence, obviously scoring a try, basically creating Alamonte's try by his kick chase, and finding support with Leota, who then finds Alamonte. That moment exemplifies everything that Penrith did well. The Howarth no try, did he get it down? Did he not? Obviously, the NRL bunker will have more angles than what we at home would be watching on the 9 network feed, even though I was watching on the NRL app. And the commentary did state that they have, obviously, I think 24 camera angles they can look at in the NRL bunker, when we only get maybe 1 or 2, potentially 3 camera angles that we get to look at as fans at home. That was a moment where early in the second half Melbourne had a bit more possession and a bit more intensity about their play, but that was a key moment, and we can argue, was it a try, was it a no try? Another key flashpoint, the alleged biting incident by Cameron Munster on Alamonte. It's gone on report. There was no penalty given on the play. I would say we've seen some similar ones in the last couple of seasons in both the NRL and NRLW, which have ultimately led to players being sin-binned and sent off on the field. We've seen some controversial ones. Cameron Munster stays on the field. It is put on report and play on. So we'll see what happens with that in regards to selection for Australia in the upcoming Test matches in a couple of weeks' time. That'll be crucial to see if he does get a suspension out of that. But you could see that at points, Melbourne were looking very, very frustrated. They lost direction, which I found very surprising considering they had a fully fit spine with Grant, Hughes, Munster and Pappenhausen. They looked pretty lost in the second half. They looked shattered, but they looked lost. They didn't look as confident with their combinations and runs off the ball and support play. Melbourne lost the arm wrestle. So, which I think would have surprised a lot of people, considering when I did my preview video for this, a lot of people said in the comments Melbourne looked fitter, they looked faster, they looked more in tune with each other, their combinations were working really well throughout the regular season and going into finals. And obviously last week over the Roosters, people were saying they look tuned in, they're up to speed. Pappenhausen's working well, Hughes obviously got the Dally M winner. And it wasn't the case today. They looked disjointed, they didn't look fully at the races, and they were out-muscled, out-skilled, out-tackled, and the territory game out-kicked. You could name it. They were second best, and decidedly second best, and they were looking gassed towards the end of the first half. But very, very similar. The Panthers did this to Brisbane, even though they came from behind to beat Brisbane last year. They made sure they gassed them. They made sure they won the physical battle. So when it came to that last, into the second half and towards the end, they had more energy. Their defence was quicker. Their play the ball was quicker. Their passing was quicker. The contact area, they were more physical, and the Storm looked battered and bruised. Now, whether the Storm have been defying gravity, as I say, for many, many years. There's only one grand final that neither of these sides have competed in since 2016. May I add, and that is a record in itself. But how much longer can Melbourne, with this, with the Craig Bellamy era, how much longer can they defy the gravity process? Same with Penrith with the player turnover they're going to have. More key players are going to leave this off-season. Could this be the last time in a while we see both the Storm and the Panthers in a grand final? Could this be a watershed moment, or can the Panthers do 5 in a row wins next year and 6 grand finals in a row, and can the Storm bounce back and get to another grand final themselves? We shall see, but the Panthers fully deserved their win, and they've made history. They've made history. The first side since the South Sydney Rabbitohs in the 60s and 70s to do 5 grand finals in a row. And this is in the salary cap era, which is ridiculous. This side continues to make history every year. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts on the grand final in the comments section below. I'll have some more content for you guys very, very soon.